All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about Errol Spence Jr. potentially moving on from the Terence Crawford fight if the fight does not get done pretty quickly. May be willing to do that, may be forced to do that. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. We are in the 147-pound division. Once again, talking about the biggest subject in boxing, Errol Spence Jr., the WBA, WBC, and IBF welterweight champion of the world, in negotiations to fight Terence Crawford, the WBO champion of the world, in one of the biggest fights that we could anticipate or want in the sport of boxing. However, it looks like people are dragging their feet on it, and we're getting to the point in time where they are going to have to make a decision quickly or move on to the next. Before I get into that though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, thank you so much for tuning in. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. We talk boxing on a daily basis in the live stream format and the video format. So there's always a really good time, have a barbershop type of conversation going on for a variety of different subjects. Now, if you are a longtime subscriber, again, thank you so much for your support. Make sure y'all hit that like and share the video. It would be greatly appreciated. Help us grow the channel, get the word out about boxing, the sport we love. All right. So talking about the sports we love, there's nothing better than a very, very, very big fight, a fight where you have two sides arguing about who is going to win. All of that good stuff is there for the Errol Spence Jr. Terence Crawford fight. Word had come out over the last couple weeks several times about them being very close to signing the fight. However, as of right now, there is nothing officially done for the fight. However, Errol Spence Jr. has said that if the fight does not happen, that is not going to be on him. That is going to be on the other side. And you've heard more, subtle rumblings from the PBC side about what's going on with that fight. You've heard Terence Crawford saying, yeah, hopefully we'll get it done. We just have to work out the business associated with the fight, which means that, the money is more than likely holding up the fight. But now we are coming up on June. We are actually, as of the date of this video, is July 4th, which, according to sources, was the time that they were supposed to announce the fight, right around today, this week. So if they are not going to do that, you are going to see that there's going to be a lot more pressure put on specifically Errol Spence Jr., who has two mandatories waiting for their opportunity at that belt. And the two people that are mandated already, the mandatories for him are Emis Staniansis, who is the WBA regular champion, who was the mandatory challenger for Yordenis Ugas before Yordenis Ugas had petitioned the WBA to allow him to fight Errol Spence Jr. So he is talking about wanting to get his fight. And in fact, earlier maybe about a month ago, had come out and said, look, man, if Errol Spence Jr. doesn't want to fight me, Errol Spence Jr. is going to have to drop the belt, or he's going to have to pay him step aside, is what I would put into that. However, with this dragging out, we are walking up on the time when that decision is going to have to be made. The other guy, obviously, is Terence Crawford, who is not Terence Crawford, is Jaron Ennis, who just beat Custio Clayton I believe that was on the undercard of the Jermell Charlo versus Brian Castano fight, the IBF mandatory, and one of the most exciting young fighters in boxing. Those guys are both sitting there for Errol Spence Jr. to do. Now, for Errol Spence Jr., for his part, said if the fight does not go through, or if he has two more fights, he said he wanted to have two more fights at welterweight. This was before the Yordenis Ugas fight. He wanted to fight Yordenis Ugas, and then he wanted to fight Terence Crawford. If he could not get that done, he was going to leave the weight class. I personally do not see him doing that, though, because I don't really see where they're at this present moment. I don't really see what there is at 154 pounds for him to do at 154 pounds. Not saying that I think that he's going to fight, that he's going to actually fight Jaron Ennis, because I don't think that's the case. But regardless of that, we're now getting to the time where those guys are going to have to make up their mind, and it doesn't really matter who the blame goes to when if the fight doesn't get done, because there's going to be blame being thrown here and there. People are going to say, oh well, Terence Crawford was lowballed from the Terence Crawford side, from Errol Spence Jr. side. They're going to be like, look, we were reasonable what we offered him. He didn't accept it, and we gotta move on. Now, if it does not happen at 147, there's obviously, there's the potential that the fight could happen at 154, but probably not. It would probably just go down as one of the great fights that we all want to see in boxing that does not happen. The most recent comparison that I could use for that is the Deontay Wilder Anthony Joshua fight. Deontay Wilder was the WBC champion, and Anthony Joshua was the WBA, the IBF, and the WBO champion. And it was very, very obvious who everybody in boxing wanted to see fight. They wanted to see Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua fight each other. However, that fight never got done because the promoter, Eddie Hearn, did not want that fight to be made. So I just wanted to say that even though, there's a lot of push for the Errol Spence Terence Crawford fight, a lot of push, and that does not mean that it is inevitable, right? If you have a guy like Terence Crawford, and I'm going to make this argument in a way where, I'm being fair to Terence Crawford. If Terence Crawford really feels like, this is a big super fight, this is my first opportunity for a big super fight, and he's not getting the money that he thinks is reasonable, and he's somebody that is risk adverse, the man may step off and say, okay, let me go find something else to do and see if we can come back around to this. Now, if Terence Crawford doesn't take that fight, what does Terence Crawford do, right? Is he going to go up and fight Jermell Charlo? He very well could, because he's the WBO super champion. Right? He's the WBO super champion, which means that he can immediately move up and fight whoever it is that he has the WBO belt. Now, at the same time, there already is a WBO mandatory at 154 pounds, and that is Tim Tszyu. And Tim Tszyu is one of the next two people that are in line to fight Jermell Charlo. So if he does take that route, he's still going to have he's going to have a considerable layoff, may have a layoff of, up to over a year trying to get that fight with Jermell Charlo. So, I'm hoping that these guys get this done pretty quick. Obviously, they're going to have to do it, because I'm hoping that they get it done, and obviously they're going to have to do it pretty quick, because if they're looking to fight in an October time frame, something like that, they're going to have to announce a fight, do the publicity for the fight, and all of that. I'm just wondering, man, is the money going to magically show up there at Showtime to make Terence Crawford happy? Because, I still go back to what Tim Smith said, who was the director of communications for the PBC, which was that Bud is going to be insulted by whatever offer they make, because they don't really think the money's there for the fight. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.